Ben Johnson continues to set an impressive standard with his new coordinator hires of both the offensive coordinator in Declan Doyle and the defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen. What are these respective coaches bringing to the team? We're going to talk a little bit about that and the expectations that they're going to hold each side of the ball, too. We're getting into all that plus a little bit of the mailbag and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Terry Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So, Ben Johnson yesterday hired his offensive and defensive coordinator. The announcements coming minutes after each other. And now we kind of are starting to have the staff set up for Ben Johnson. Of course, we have Ben Johnson as the first-time head coach here, the offensive mind that he is. Assistant head coach is Antoine Randall L. Then we have the offensive coordinator in Declan Doyle. We have the defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen and the special teams coordinator right now at Richard Hightower. We also have the QB coach as J.T. Barrett. Antoine Randall L. will also serve as the wide receivers coach. And so we're still kind of figuring out a lot of other things on top of that. We got Al Harris, of course, as the defensive back coach, and he's the passing game coordinator. We're still missing the safeties coach, linebackers coach, passing game coordinator, offensive line coach, tight end coach, run game coordinator, and, of course, offensive line coach as well. So we still got some things that we need to fill out, and I would not be surprised if we get a lot of those answers here in the upcoming days. But what are the Bears getting in adding the two coordinators that they added yesterday? Let's start off with Dennis Allen because he's the more decorated one. And when you look at Dennis Allen and what he's bringing in, right, with Ben Johnson being the offensive mind that he is, bringing in a veteran defensive coordinator like Dennis Allen and looking at the job that he did when he was focused on just being the defensive coordinator under Sean Payton, he did wonderful work when it came down to it. Amazing work when it came down to it. And so when you've heard Dennis Allen's name floated around literally almost since Ben Johnson was hired, it makes a lot of sense, right? He's a veteran coach. He brings in head coaching experience, even though he wasn't the most successful head coach, right? And, you know, it is what it is. Yes, he's had his own struggles, and that's cool. Not everybody's meant to be a head coach. He's been a head coach before. He's getting to come in and be in just his role as a defensive coordinator. And I think when you look at what he's been able to do there, hey, he's already got the reputation of being a strong defensive coordinator. Three of his teams under the Saints were in the top 10 of yards allowed. Also had the fourth and fifth best scoring defenses in 2020 and 21. And he gets a chance to come in here for a Bears team that, you know, yeah, it started slumping last year. Make no mistake about it. Some of that is losing faith in the head coach. Some of that is other things outside of that. No, make no mistake about it. We had some injuries. We had things like that. But the fact that he's coming in with a similar scheme and that the Bears don't have to reinvent the wheel, but he's a much more aggressive play caller. He changes up the front a lot more. He gets more creative in his blitz packages as well. He's going to really, much like Ben Johnson is creatively as an offensive mind, Dennis Allen is very creative as a defensive mind. And I think that's going to really help this Chicago Bears team a lot and then regain some of what they lost over the course of last season as well. Now, nothing's one on paper, but I think he has the strong mindset. He's going to be somebody that the players are going to respect. He's going to be able to really use everybody to the best of their ability. I think that the linebackers are really going to be used a lot more creatively than what they were last year. We still got young guys on this defensive line as well, like Javon Dexter, Austin Booker, much less if we do draft another defensive lineman in the trenches as well, that he's going to be able to really develop. And then you look at how when Andrew Billings went down, right, which has been Ben Johnson has already identified. When Andrew Billings went down, it really did change the dynamic of the Chicago Bears defense. He's going to be able to come in and really build that around it while also anchoring different players around it. I think he's going to find out ways to free up Montez Sweat, whether it means bringing two linebackers in on blitzes or whatever else. Kyler Gordon is also somebody. We've already seen Kyler Gordon be used in such creative ways. Now somebody like Dennis Allen, Kyler Gordon could become one of the most important pieces in the for the Chicago Bears in the pass blitzing, in the run stopping as well, and in coverage. there are going to be some things that aren't the same. I do think that Jalen Johnson, for example, is going to be used a little bit more creatively than what he has before, and how he adapts to that, which I'm not really worried about Jalen Johnson being able to adapt. I think that's going to be a big thing in this as well. And the safeties, right? He does use the cover one. And so the way which safety stays back is going to be, and you can do either one of them, right? We seen last year before Jaquan Brisker went down that there was some real creativity in who you left in and out of the box. So, Dennis Allen going to be able to come and be an even stronger play caller in that. You can see even better out of those safeties. So this is a really, really good hire by Ben Johnson, and somebody that, while he still has to make sure that he's in tune and in touch with the defense, you can trust what Dennis Allen's going to bring to that defensive side of the ball and let him do his job, let him work, and it not bite you in your ass. And that's what's really important about Dennis Allen coming to this team. It was rumored literally since Ben Johnson got hired, and now to see that it came into reality, and now we get to just build this thing out going forward is really important. So I really love the Dennis Allen hire. I think it's a really good hire for the present and for the long term. And then I think also with it, he's been a head coach before. And, not to say that he may not eventually want to become a head coach again, but I think he's going to be somebody who's going to be here and help establish what have I said for a long time. I want a head coach that's going to come in and establish a program. And while I get it, that's more of a college term, you want somebody that's going to develop something and an identity for this team over years and years and years to come. I would love to have a Chicago Bears head coach that's here for a decade plus. And if Ben Johnson's going to do that, he's bringing in people that's going to help establish what Chicago Bears football is under him. And I love the signing of Dennis Allen. But then you flip it. While Dennis Allen brings the experience, he brings, somebody who's done the job before. He brings a lot of what Ben Johnson needs as far as support in this area. Declan Doyle is somebody who is kind of on the other side of that, right? Somebody who is very young, not even 30 years old yet, right? But when you then start looking at some of the things that are around Doyle, you start understanding why Ben Johnson made this hire and what it could be. First off, let's look at it for the connection to the Bears. He's actually is reportedly the nephew of Ditka in some shape, form, or fashion. That's crazy. But then when you look at it, even with how young he is, right? He was with Iowa from 2016 to 18, right? He graduated from Iowa in 2018. He then moved on with Sean Payton. He was there and worked as an offensive assistant from 2019 to 22. He then went with Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos and served as the tight ends coach from 2023 to 2024 there. He's worked under Dan Campbell as well, which is a connection with Ben Johnson. And the reputation that Declan Doyle has, even as being a young guy, is he's regarded as one of the up-and-coming young offensive minds on the NFL coaching scene. Now, Ben Johnson is that, right? Ben Johnson is the young, dynamic offensive mind. But here's the thing. You can never have too many perspectives as long as you trust those perspectives. And having somebody else who's just as young and creative comes under some of the same coaches that your defensive coordinator and that you have come under, some of those things and skills are going to overline. And I think that's what you're looking at here with Declan Doyle. Somebody that, hey, listen, the goal is, right, because you want Ben Johnson here for a long time. The goal is eventually Declan Doyle to learn so much under Ben Johnson and so much on his own that eventually he may be poached and go be a head coach or something else on another team. But giving him the offensive coordinator role means that the only real upward move for him is head coach. So it locks him in here. Because again, he's a young guy, hasn't really been as proven, right? So hopefully you have him here 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. And yeah, eventually if he grows and the reputation grows and somebody comes and wants to poach him, good. That means that Ben Johnson did his job. That means that the Chicago Bears did their job. I say that, and Matt Eberflus just went out and got a defensive coordinator job with the Cowboys, which I actually think is a good job for him. I mean, I throw some shade, but Declan Doyle is the guy here that's kind of the most unproven commodity. But I think with what he has here, as far as veterans around him, former NFL players around him as well, and yeah, he's not a former player. He didn't play football or anything like that. But to be a creative mind, you don't always have to have that. And so we'll see what happens here. But push come to shove, a lot of the offense, of course, is going to fall on Ben Johnson. He's going to still call the plays. He's still going to come up with the scheme. Not to say that Doyle isn't going to have his role here, because he absolutely is as an offensive coordinator. But, this is a good opportunity. And this is Ben Johnson bringing in somebody who is an up-and-coming mind and seeing maybe an opportunity, seeing some of the same things that other coaches saw in Ben Johnson. He sees in Declan Doyle, and now he's going to bring that over here And so there's something to be said about that as well. So I love these two hires for the Chicago Bears. Of course, Doyle's going to have to prove himself a little bit more. And there are going to be a lot of people, Bears fans, that doubt how much he does with Ben Johnson being the head coach. I already know that's going to happen, but it is what it is, right? And so Ben Johnson is really building a really good staff here. And as we continue to just flesh out the staff, solve the staff, and then we get into other places of, all right, what are we going to do next? Who are the players we're going to bring in? What we're going to do in free agency, which is all hugely important for this Bears team as well. And that's what I'm excited to see. So overall, a lot of excitement around the Bears. The fact that he was able to bring in a veteran like Dennis Allen, going out and poaching a young guy like a Declan Doyle, this is a really good first step. I say first step, really good steps by Ben Johnson in completing his staff. And when you look at what he's already done with his coordinator hires, with the coaching hires, Antoine Randall being his assistant head coach, you can see how he's trying to set up here and set up the hierarchy here. Gotta love it. And I think that Ben Johnson is really focused on how to fix the Chicago Bears team. And I, for one, love it. I have no qualms about it. I know some people are asking, well, why didn't we go more proven like with Shaw over Declan Doyle? And here's what I'll say with this, right? When you are such a creative offensive mind like Ben Johnson, and you bring in a veteran, like, not to say that they would bump heads or anything like that, but I think when you look at David Shaw, right? David Shaw is more so somebody that if the Bears went defensive-minded head coach, I think would have been a great offensive coordinator. But since you have Ben Johnson here and you got a young and upcoming guy, kind of can see where you want to go with that. Of course, Dennis Shaw would have had then two veteran assistants. So I understand where a lot of Bears fans are pointing to. Why didn't we get Shaw? Why didn't we get Shaw? I think Ben Johnson saw, like I said, an opportunity to really help mold the next guy and have somebody who's going to be here for at least, like I said, 3 to 5 years, if not longer. And then if the Bears have some success, the team may poach him. But then at that point, listen, Ben Johnson's established himself. Maybe you go out and get a veteran then, or you just keep bringing in the next young guy, right, that you can grow and develop that's a creative mind. So we'll see what happens there. But overall, really like these hires. I think the Bears are off to a really good step. But let's go ahead and get into it. Every Monday, we have like a pseudo mailbag. It's not a full mailbag episode, but I like to get some of the voicemails from whatever happened over the weekend. This first one isn't about that. It's more about a player that they want to come back. But let's get into this first one. It's from John Johnson.
Bobby, C-Dub, Hayes, Steve-O, Cognac Boy. How everybody doing, man? Big Tub. Hey, guys, I like the move that Chicago Bears are making this offseason. I ain't trying to get too happy right now until they get on the field and they show me something different. But I like all the moves they're making. But the one signing that I think makes sense, and I think Chicago Bears fans would love it, and I think it'll be just a nice mesh and a nice reunion to bring them back. Man, we got to bring Khalil Mack back one more time, man. They got to bring the Mack man back. What y'all guys think about that? Edge rusher, give me Khalil Mack. I want the Mack attack back. Come on, guys. You got to admit, man. When we had Khalil Mack, when he came in, man, it was an impact, man. Everybody was so excited. I got a Khalil Mack jersey just hanging up in the closet, man. Man, all I can do is look at it and shake my head, man. What if? I wish we could have kept him, but I understand, the money situation. But now he's a free agent this year right here. Come on, man. Let's bring my boy back. I'm doing a protest right now. I want Khalil Mack back. Tell me what y'all guys think about it.
Khalil Mack, man. Listen, I know a lot of people have said and talked about bringing Khalil Mack back. And while I wouldn't necessarily be against it, if you compare Khalil Mack with Montez Sweat, and then you still have guys like Austin Booker in the wings that are developing, right? And we'll see if you bring like Daniel Hardy back, something like that. I'm not necessarily mad at that. It comes down to what the money is. And I say that because the Bears got something that they need to focus on, I think, more than bringing in a vet like Khalil Mack, and that is the offensive line. That is the first and foremost thing to me is the offensive line. And because I do want one or two veterans on that O-line, which veteran offensive linemen can be expensive, that's kind of where I'd want the focus and money to go first. Now, if Khalil Mack is willing to come in and take a cheaper deal, he's not going to take a cheap deal, but a cheaper deal, then maybe that could change some things. But, we know what Khalil Mack can bring, right? There's no slide to him on the field. When the Bears moved on from him, it was because the Bears needed to clean up that cap sheet. But if you're able to have Khalil Mack, even at 33 years old, on the opposite side of Montez Sweat, yeah, that entices me. That should entice a lot of Bears fans. But I think you got other things that you need to spend money on first, in my opinion. But we'll see. And Dennis Allen could, go out there and get me Khalil Mack. We'll see, right? I'm not necessarily mad at it. I just think the money could be better allocated elsewhere first, in my personal opinion. And again, I'm not in the building. I don't know how much Austin Booker's going to, show much more. Could he take a Javon Dexter leap from year 1 to year 2 as him being a raw player? We saw him play more and more snaps. But, it really comes down to that. Do the Bears want to go defensive lineman in the draft where they feel like they can bring in somebody? There's that aspect of it as well. So we'll see what happens there. But I just think that the Bears have other higher priority targets first that they need to address before looking to bring in somebody like Khalil Mack, in my personal opinion. But you guys, as always, can let me know how you feel on that down. But like I said, I'm never going to be mad if it's Khalil Mack. I want to make that clear. If it's Khalil, I'm not going to be sitting there like, y'all brought in Khalil back. No, I'm not going to. That's not what we're going to do here. I'm going to be excited and happy about it. But like I said, it just could be that those assets are better allocated elsewhere. All right, let's get into the next voicemail, man. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's up, fellas? It's Keys, man, on this lovely Sunday evening. Just got done watching the Chiefs win again. Hopefully it's going to be a pretty decent Super Bowl. I think Mahomes going to 3-peat, but that's besides the point. Let's get into the new hires, man. Dennis Allen, as our DC. Let me tell you something. That was circled on my watch the whole time. I know it was just a matter of time before it happened. I think he's going to bring something where, like Ben Johnson said, we got to hold these guys accountable. We got some real leadership with Al Harris, and also getting Antoine Randall and everything like that. I think everything is just going to make itself up. Now I'm interested to see who's the D-line coach, who's the linebacker coach, who's the O-line and the tight end coach and the running back coach. Now we still got to fill them out. So, I think it's going to be good for our defense, man. We're going to play a lot more man. Like y'all said in the live earlier, I think it's going to be some more blitzing, and you're going to see some more hard hitting and everything of that nature. Now, the new OC, I don't know about Declan Doyle, but I think he's an interesting part. He's a young guy, man. He's 28 years old, like y'all said. I'm just intrigued to see what he can bring to the table, what his vision is for this offense, along with helping Ben assess and get the best success for our team, man. But overall, I'm really liking what we're doing. But what it really comes down to is just getting this team in the right spot. And I know everybody is hyped for the offseason moves, but we've been hyped before. And, like you said, Hayes, I ain't going to let myself get too hyped right now because, we still got to go out there and put it on the field, put it on wax, like my man Bobby said, say all the time. And, but I think this year I expect with everything and how it's going at the minimum 8 wins. We could have had 9 this year with the 3 or 4 that we lost. That was close games. You know what I'm saying? So just get Caleb on the right direction, get these other guys in the right direction. But also to bring it up too, man, I'm watching the Chiefs. I think it's another guy we need to look at that's on the Chiefs aside from Trey Smith that's going to be a free agent. And trench heavy this year. I think we might want to look at Tashawn Wharton, the defensive tackle, number 98. He could be a nice addition, man. But as always, let me know what you guys think. Shot town up, bear down.
I laid it all out in the first segment. Like, I think that what we're doing here as far as our coordinators, it all makes a lot of sense. And I know that is a given. Is it aiming too low for the Chicago Bears? Maybe. But we have been a franchise that hasn't always operated sensibly for way too long. And so the Bears that doing things that not only make sense, but seems like they have a direction, seems like they have a goal, seems like they have a focus, and they're executing that focus. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that, right? So, and first of all, we've never been able to say that the Bears have gotten the hottest names out, the hottest coaching name out on the market. We've just never been able to say that. And so, now with Ben Johnson in here, him establishing his staff, you're just starting to see the vision, right? And you see the confidence that this has brought about, and the confidence is back. Ryan Poles' confidence is back. And everything's happening. The players are starting to get that back. We lost a lot over the course of last season, in confidence-wise and momentum-wise and mentality-wise. And that's why getting the head coaching hire was right, and that head coach getting their staff right is just as important as that. And so Ben Johnson really seems like he understands the importance of getting his guys in here on the staff and seeing what we're going to do. And like you said, it's all about getting Caleb Williams the proper coaching as well. We got to stop the trend that we've had as far as not really providing a structure for quarterbacks after we bring them in and draft them. And that seems like this is going to change with this set of hirings, with this head coach. And again, I say seems because I just got to see it on the football field. That's pessimistic of me, yes, and I understand that, but I got to see it on the football field, y'all. And that's just where I stand at with this team right now. If it's not on the football field, I'm going to question it all. And that's just what it is. We got to get those wins on the football field. I'm not coming in yet with the win-loss prediction. That'll come further on in the offseason once we start seeing some of the signings and draft. But I'm really excited about the season, and let's hope that we do see that success and that those results on the football field so we can get to where we need to get to. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-27. I'm sorry, that's the wrong number. 773-242-9336. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.